They're moving towards the rails that are directly ahead of us this way. And now that we've come to the rail too, a couple of important reminders. We do need everyone to keep their seats well on the deck, and that includes the kiddos, so please make sure that no one's up standing on benches or railings. I say that now because when the rails come up close to us, it gets really tempting, but we don't want anyone to slip and fall. So these rails are underwater at the moment. Usually they're beneath the surface for about 4 to 6 minutes at a time. So what we do is we stop and kind of get a handle on where they're going, which direction they're traveling, and then get closer. So again, to give you an idea of where you are, that's Provincetown, right at the very tip of Cape Cod, back towards 4 o'clock. You can almost follow our wake back behind us where we came from Cape Cod Bay. And then the land that you can see that's now directly behind us is Plymouth. So at the very southern end of Massachusetts Bay and the Stellwagen Bank National Marine Sanctuary. You might have gotten to take a look at the map that we have on board or heard about the feeding ground. Stellwagen Bank is an underwater plateau that's about 100 feet deep. And it drops off really steeply on the side to about 200 or 300 feet. And that causes what we call upwelling. So currents come through the area, and the tides go in and out. All that water movement hits up against the side of an underwater mountain like this. And then it has nowhere to go but straight up. So as that water sweeps up the side, it carries nutrients from the bottom toward the surface. So think about how all the plants on land need water, nutrients, and sunlight to grow. The same thing happens out here. Kickstarts the food chain and brings in those whales like the one at 1 o'clock.
There's even more down the way. There's one right here, and then there's some way down there too.
So that whale came up and went right back down. It's sort of a matter of seeing
There he comes.
where it is now. I can also see another glow a little ways away. There you are. Left side.
Yeah, you just need to turn the whole boat. There's one like right in front of us almost now.
This is a humpback whale. Just to the surface. Those of you on the right side have a humpback whale at 1 o'clock as well. And there are a couple of more. So there are a bunch of whales around us right now. Might see a tail on the left side. And then those of you on the right side, you can now see that there are 2 different whales. One of them's a lot bigger than the other, so we've got a mama and her little baby. Little peanut.
Another 4 or 5 minutes later. Sorry, they made air bubbles. Means they died probably.
Alright, so these whales just lifted their tails up out of the water, their flukes, and that usually means that they've gone down on a bit of a deeper dive.
They're running from
And that's when you're underwater for a couple of minutes at a time. Bubbles are coming up on the right side, so if you're at 3 o'clock, kind of keep your eyes pointed. This one stream of bubbles, it could mean a couple of different things. It could be related to feeding, and then it also could be related to what we maybe hypothesize as social behavior. So you can kind of see the bubbles that the boat has made, but just a little ways off at 3 o'clock, there's just sort of this like fizzy water. Again, one of the whales blew a stream of, not that one, that one's coming this way. But somebody blew a stream of bubbles that came up right next to us. And then kind of as I was saying that other whale started to come at us. So that's how we kind of start to connect the dots and think that there are different reasons that animals pursue the different behaviors. If you're wondering where to be looking for the whale to come up, honestly, so am I. So today, like we have another whale swimming kind of towards us at about 2 o'clock, kind of bobbing around and, oh. So that humpback whale kind of kicked its tail and flailed it all around. We actually saw a whale do that yesterday, which kind of makes me think about, like, kind of the different styles. You know, so why are these whales doing these different behaviors? And we kind of started with bubbles. A lot of the times when you see the bubbles, it's related to bubble feeding. But we've seen more and more evidence that might suggest that different types of bubbles are related to communicating, each other, or, you know, if there's another calf pair, or there's actually even a couple of people out there who believe that some whales are communicating with people using bubbles. And a lot of it is just so much that we don't know. But then that guy over there at 2 o'clock, it just kind of flailed his fluke all around. Like I said, we saw that whale yesterday. Somebody's up at 10 o'clock. That's the mom and calf pair.
They're probably all going to go under the boat. Oh, there's another one.
Alright, now it kind of seems like the others are kind of joined up. There's a second species of the day, a minke whale, over at 2 o'clock. Humpbacks at 11. And another humpback. But actually, so the minke whale just kind of rolled over. I just saw this flash of green at 2 o'clock. Now, the reason, so the minke whales are kind of hard to really keep your eyes on. They look like a big dolphin when they pop out their ears. But the humpbacks, even when it's just underwater, you can see this flash of green, and that's because they have long white pectoral flippers. And it shows the green from the phytoplankton. But what I saw on the right, a flash of green, but then it tipped back over. So I think that whale had actually kind of rolled over, almost belly up a little bit. Might have been doing some feeding. There are more bubbles at 11 o'clock. Alright, bubbles coming up at 11 o'clock. So 10 o'clock, about where they were before. Keep your eyes in here. I'm pointing to right here. See that green water? The left side. Yes, I smell that stinky little rug. Alright, see that bubble spiral? Keep your eyes in here. I'm pointing right at it. 10 o'clock. And there's the humpback whale. Big open mouth. There's that baby.
Might you be moved from where?
The tap. And then this whale, watch her tail. This is a 12-year-old whale, big eye fluke. See the black and white markings in the middle? I'll talk about what that all means, but that's how we tell them all apart. And then look at that guy coming right this way. And so what we just saw was these whales are doing some feeding. And this one either maybe was called over, maybe picked up just on its own, or maybe realized there are fish here, and I would like to just know whether it's a mutual agreement or not. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But kind of keep your eyes open right now. Be on the lookout all around the boat for any more green bubbles. Alright, bubbles are coming up at 11. About the same spot. We'll see if it turns into another feeding spiral, but at least we know there's at least one whale over there. Alright, so it's almost the same spot as where it was. See, there's another. So what these whales are doing, it's like a little puff of air. And we're going to start to see them form that big spiral again. So the whales are currently blowing bubbles, and we're starting to see them. There's our little calf. Look how clear you can see that whale. Don't know where the adults are going to be. See how the bubbles, they just kind of stopped and then nothing happened? They might have decided it wasn't worth the effort, or maybe it had to do with that fifth whale coming in. Maybe they don't want that whale to come and join. That would help. Oh, there's one of them. That was a different whale. So that was the fifth whale that came in. There's that baby. This looks like mama. Alright, you might see her tail. You might get a tooth. That's right. So that's mama. And the baby, you noticed it did the same arch at the back, but didn't lift the tail. And that's just because it's little. It doesn't always bring its tail up out of the water when it is young. It's only about 5 or 6 months old. So I'm interested to see what happens next, because they started a bubble net and then abandoned it. And that might have been because there wasn't enough fish to make it worthwhile. Or maybe it has something to do with that extra adult coming in. When we come out here, it would be equally